This is a Glassbox Media podcast.
Still better than eating a donut for breakfast.
It's better than a donut. It's better than a pancake that's covered in butter and syrup.
Right.
So I'm like, where do we draw the line? It's like, what is a breakfast dessert?
I hate dessert for breakfast. And I think that's why I hate sweets. I cannot deal with like a pancake or a waffle or anything like that for breakfast. To me, that's like something that if I look at a waffle, that's something I would eat post a meal, like as a dessert.
It is. And like I always tell myself that that's what I want when I go to a breakfast place, and I never order it. I always order like a chicken fried steak or I always get like an omelet or something. I never get, and I always tell myself, I'm like, maybe I'll have, because when you go to IHOP they give you like 3 pancakes with everything you order. So I'm always like, oh, I'll have a pancake after I eat this, and then I'm always so full that I never do it. I never do it.
Yeah.
So
it's probably for the best.
But I mean, favorite Christmas cookie. I mean,
or just in general cookie.
Oh, I also made. This is how many cookies I made. I also tried a new recipe for cinnamon sugar cookies, and I've been like icing them with royal icing. I have to say, these raspberry thumbprint cookies, I've never had them before, but they're really, really good.
Might be your new fave.
They might be my new fave. Yeah, I really like them a lot.
When it comes to Christmas cookies, I know you know what I'm talking about. Cheryl's. Those sugar cookies, those sugar frosted sugar cookies from Cheryl's.
Oh, I've never had them from Cheryl's, but they like have them at the grocery store, right?
They're
soft ones?
very soft.
They're perfect. They are perfect.
Like,
You're absolutely
and they
right.
like melt in your mouth.
Yeah, they're like a buttery.
They're
sugar
very
cookie.
buttery.
They're so good.
From Cincinnati, they have a place called the Bonbonnery, and Anthony's mom always sends us. They have sugar cookies. They're known for their very like intricately decorated like sugar cookies. And I'm not actually that big on like royal icing, but these cookies are so good.
Yeah,
they're so good.
Yeah, if you get them done, I found like a copycat recipe, and I want to make them because that's one of the traditions that we used to do as a family. On Christmas Eve. We would make a big batch of sugar cookies, and then my mom would make all the different colored icing, and we would like decorate sugar cookies on Christmas Eve. So I really want to do that again.
Decorating sugar cookies is definitely one of my favorite things.
Yeah,
that definitely puts me in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, by the way, this is my worst date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
Hi. And also, we don't have any new patrons, but I did want to do a patron shout out to a couple of people. Kelly from Boobies and Newbies did up her patron level, as did Jay also did. And your new rewards are coming in the mail. So look out for those. Sorry, it's taken so long with the holidays. It's just been kind of bananas, but those things are coming. We value you so much, and we have, again, we changed our patron levels a while ago, so you get new things now. So definitely go and check that out on Patreon.
Yeah, and make sure if you haven't signed up yet, sign up before the end of the year, because we have been talking about really fun, cool new stuff to do in 2020 for Patreon. So get in on the ground floor now that we're in business.
Yeah. And I definitely want to do like, now that we have merch of all different kinds of things, I would love to do like a giveaway or something soon. And we do prioritize our patrons with things like that as well. So I'll probably go on Patreon before it'll go anywhere else. So keep an eye open.
Yeah.
Dude, that's fun. Oh, that's nice. Sweaty balls. That's my NPR voice for the day. Dude.
Okay, so we have some things that we need to discuss. It is super important. And one is that Kumail is hot now.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. I know you
and
do not
we have a hot take at the table.
Yeah. Holy shit. I love the fact that his body is so completely jacked, but he still has nerd face. And that makes him, because if he didn't have nerd face, if he also had super hot face, it would be too much.
Too much.
And then I wouldn't like him. But the fact that he has nerd face still makes him not only are you hot like that, but I think we can have a discussion about,
Children.
theory of consciousness. Like, let's do this now.
Kumail Nanjiani is Nanjiani, right?
Yes.
He is from Silicon Valley, right? And he's a comedian.
He's so funny too.
He is funny, and he was actually like my favorite part of Silicon Valley. I watched like the first season. I don't think I watched after that, but he was one of my favorite parts of that show. And he's a comedian, and he up until this point he looked like a comedian. You know, comedians are kind of known for soft bodies, which is fine.
He's like, I brought the laughs. I don't need a good body.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Pretty much, yeah.
Look, I would also subscribe to that.
You're like,
for sure.
and that is correct, sir.
And he got cast in a Marvel movie in which I guess he has to be jacked for it. And boy, did he ever get jacked. But you know what I really love about it is I loved that his caption was, he was very honest in his caption of that picture that was just like, look, I never would have been able to do this if I didn't have the biggest media company in the world, Disney, paying for the best nutritionists and the best like fitness experts
that
for
kind
a
of
full
body
year.
Is insane.
It has to be your job.
Your full-time job.
Yeah.
To get that kind of body, like you
in a year,
and that's a nutritionist literally like following you around and it's like you
slapping
can eat
shit out of your hand.
You can eat this right now. You can eat this right now. I mean, the level of control that it takes to get that amount of definition is. It's insane.
And Hollywood went bananas. Like even The Rock was commenting because he would know, and he was just
my
like,
favorite part was the celebrity comments.
Yeah, and he was like, and that's exactly what he was saying. He was just like, I don't think most like laymen would understand that. Like
most laymen, most of you soft bodies out there,
most of you soft bodies don't get it. But like The Rock gets it because he's been doing this for like decades, and he's just like the amount of work that you had to put in to get a body like that. And
discipline.
And he was
discipline.
Also saying like he's not going to look like that forever, and he knows that. So he's just like, I'm glad that I was able to do it with all of this help for this amount of time, this period in my life, and then you won't keep it. But okay, so yes, we have a 2 for hot, 1 for not. Cassie, would you like to speak on your opinion?
Explain yourself, bitch. I believe is what you just said. And
yes, I did.
And I'm here for the trial of not liking. I never thought he was good looking. So to me, I think he's funny, but I've never looked at him as hot.
Right.
So having a perfect body doesn't change the way I feel about him. He still looks like the same guy, just with a buff body, and it almost looks weirder to me now.
Looks like, photoshopped.
It's like skinny Oprah.
It's like that picture where they took Donald Trump's head and they put it on Rambo's body, and you're like, what?
Like the reverse of what he did. It's wrong.
It's so wrong.
I just can't.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're entitled to your wrong opinion. That's fine. We don't have to worry about it.
I do believe that's what you sent to me directly.
I did.
You were like, bitch, get out of here.
Did you see the thread? I think Anna posted it on our Facebook group, the thread from the hotel employee.
Oh, I didn't see any of that.
I read the
entire thing.
Anthony was trying to get me to karaoke last night because he was sitting next to me like singing, karaokeing, and he was like, your turn. And I was like, sorry, pause. I'm like, you can sing another song because I'm in the middle of this thread.
It was a saga. Her
amazing
meme skills are
Does she just have
point.
A folder in her phone of like memes? She has to.
That is, for me, I actually was really, I want to say inspired by the story because I'm like, this is a new way of storytelling right now, using memes to accent this thread. I was like, this story
effective.
was funny.
It's so effective
it's
too.
so effective.
Like it bumped that story up to the next level. It sure did.
You're like, what could have been a solid C story is now a real
A plus. Yeah. So this story was basically, this was a hotel employee and she looks like she's probably in her late teens, maybe her early 20s. She's young.
Very young.
And she is working and she's basically like, yo, I don't do shit at my job. I'm just kicking it back here most of the time. Like, I come in and I check people in, whatever. So she's like, this guy came in with this woman and they came to check in, and then while they're checking in, the guy takes a phone call from his wife and is like, oh yeah, babe, I'm just like at the office working late or like whatever. And so she's of course like sipping tea behind the counter, like checking them in. She's whispering to the girlfriend. She's like, can I get your email so I can send you a receipt? And the girlfriend's like, no, we don't want anything. Like we don't want to be sent a receipt. We don't want a paper trail. So she's like, okay, mind your business, whatever. So she gives them their key. They go up to the room. And then she's like 10 minutes later, I love that she sent like the scared hamster meme or gif, right? Like where she's like, I was scared because this woman came barging in and she was like, where the fuck is that motherfucker? Where is he? And she's like, well, here's the key. I could lose my job if I tell you where he is without his permission. So can I call him? And she's like, yeah, call his ass. Tell him to bring her down here.
So she said, tell him bring that whore down here with him too. I was like,
So she calls him and she's like, sir, your wife is down here and can you give me your permission to give her your room number? And he's like, no, but tell her I'll come down. And so the wife yells into the phone and she's like, tell him to bring that whore with him. I want them both down here.
Meanwhile, the memes that she's accenting this exchange
incredible,
with, so funny,
fantastic. So like she hangs up. They have a moment which was really sweet, where like they're like crying together. The wife is telling her like, I followed him here. I knew he was up to something. They have kids together. So she followed him to the hotel, then called him to see what he would say. And then when he said that, she came in like after him.
Okay.
So then
that's how we gonna play.
Okay. The husband and the other woman come down like through the elevator and shit goes off.
Okay. She straight up, she says, she's like, your little dick and your dick smell and like all
and she's like, you had no business cheating anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Listen, if I'm the other woman,
I'm not coming down.
Gone.
Absolutely fucking not. Why?
I know there's more than one exit out of this motherfucking building. You go out for this is your fucking wife.
This is your mess. I am not coming. I'm with you. I was shocked she came. I was like, why would you go down to get yelled at? I absolutely would leave.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, this is between you guys.
My name is Paul between y'all.
Yeah, because she abuses the hell out of that woman too. Straight up, she's like, don't you have a dick to suck or something like that?
Yeah. And the man is like begging for forgiveness, and she's like, nah, fuck you. Like you lost the best thing that you ever had. Like, et cetera, et cetera.
Throws the ring at him.
Throws the ring at his face.
No, save the ring.
I always say that too. I'm like, you can pawn that shit. But anyway.
That's right.
You can.
And so speaking of this story, last night, it was like 11:30. I'm brushing my teeth. And I'm hearing something. And you know my nosy ass. I hear shit outside. And I'm like, what is happening? So
You're like, I'll stop.
I did. I stopped.
Mid-brush.
Not only did I stop, I went over because I went through like my bathroom and I could hear through the bathroom window. So I like opened my shower door, like my sliding shower door, and like was basically standing in my bathtub to like listen to what was going on.
Oh my God, this is
what is
AF.
There was a woman out there and she was I could only hear like one side of the conversation because she was on the phone. I think I even wrote down some of what she was saying.
Oh yeah,
you took fucking notes on the
She's like, bitches, please, here we go.
It was because what I heard when I was brushing my teeth was just like, you know how you hear expletives immediately, and so I just kept hearing like fuck, like over and over again. So I went over there and she was basically being like, fuck you. I can't believe you fucking did this to me. I can't believe you fucking did this to me. And she was like saying it over and over. I don't care if you fucking die. Like she's like, I don't give a fuck. You've embarrassed me for the last time. It was insane.
And I got my tea hair on.
It went on for a while and then it stopped. So I thought she was leaving voicemails, right? So I'm like, okay, she's done or whatever. So then I went and I woke Anthony up because he fell asleep on the couch and he was getting ready for bed. And then I heard it again and I was like, come quick. Like I'm whispering to him. I'm like, come here. So I'm like whispering to him. And then we're both like standing in the bathtub, like listening to her going the fuck off on him. And I did not know. I was like, what did this man do?
Oh, he fucked up.
Like what? He
done fucked up.
What did you do, sir? And
you want to yell out the window, what did he do?
Yeah, bitch, go off. So
stand a queen.
She was asking him to like let her in the apartment, and she was like, you need to let me in. She's like, no. She was like, no, this is the last time. We're never doing this again. Fuck you. I can't fucking believe you did this to me. You have always been disrespecting me. You've never respected me. Fuck you. I don't think she ever got let in the apartment. I was guessing she wanted to be let in to get something so that she could leave. But because she came back one more time, and then my nosy ass was in the bedroom at this point. So I like looked out my window and I saw her like walk away, and I don't think she ever came back. So she just fucking left. But it was, you know how I feel about like
drama,
catching some drama. I was like, I wanted him to come outside so I could get more like info, but I don't know what that man did. But sir.
Well, given the time of year, you and the fact that she like this is the last time you've embarrassed me, I'm gonna guess that he like went off on a office party or something like that.
That's what I was thinking is they were probably at, because she was kind of dressed like maybe they had come from like a bar or something, like the holiday thing maybe. Like so maybe it was like they were at a holiday thing. Maybe she found out he cheated on her there, or he was fucking with somebody there, or he was just way embarrassing while they were there. I don't know, but she sounded like literally she said, I don't care if you fucking die, like 4 times.
Wow.
So I'm like,
that's done.
Yeah, that's what she kept saying. She's
done.
like, I'm so fucking done. I'm done. She's like, no, like, I'm guessing he was trying to argue with her because she was like, no, on the phone.
Okay.
No, she was calling him from outside the apartment.
Shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, yeah.
She's like, motherfucker, I am going to cause the scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like, honey. I was like, the walls in our apartment are so thin in our apartment complex. I'm like, you don't even need to be on the phone. He can hear you.
Yeah.
Because all of us can hear you right now.
I love it.
I'm okay with it. Look, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
Oh, man, I really wish you would have yelled out, what'd he do?
What'd he do, bitch?
Tell me about it.
Inquiring minds.
Yeah. Oh, man. Because I know my ass would have been like, he did blah, blah, blah. And I want cheers from every
I'd be like, which apartment is he in?
We will give him the dirty eye, I promise. So one of my favorite things about this podcast is when we get people who like reach out to us either by like email or text or like our Facebook group, whatever it is, and like comment on something that happened in last episodes. It just makes, makes me laugh because so one of our listeners, Schmegs, sent this to me, and she said, "I just listened to Know When to Hold 'Em or Know When to Fold 'Em, and since it's now a fart podcast,
I mean,
I thought you should know about this girl that brings whoopee cushions into public bathrooms and records the reaction." And she sent me this TikTok of this woman sitting there. So I brought this for you, Keegan.
I hate it.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious,
I would be
dude.
furious if someone did this to me.
Oh God,
It's
just
too
to hear the
funny.
reactions of people. It's so funny. All right.
Okay. So she's doing it to herself. She's not doing it to other people. She's sitting in the bathroom and like squeezing a whoopee cushion to like get other people's reactions.
Yes.
That is kind of funny.
Isn't that
I was
fucking
gonna say if
hilarious?
somebody like. If somebody
did it to
put
you.
a whoop, which I don't even know how that would work.
Right.
Yeah, you
but
would
if
see
somebody were to put a whoopee cushion and like, if someone were to do that to me,
I'd be pissed.
I'd
No,
be
she's
so
doing it to
pissed.
herself. She did it to herself, which makes it even more hilarious.
Okay, so we also needed to talk about this because the reviews for Cats have come out. They are terrible, and I have never wanted to see anything more in my life. I want to see this movie
so bad now.
desperately.
Listen, because the reviews
it's so bad.
are so bad. Chris and I were talking about this. I don't want to like go pay money to see it in the
0
theater, but I want
stars
so
of
curious.
Rolling Stones.
I
That's what
want
Chris
to.
said.
I kind of want to like down 2 White Claws in the parking lot and then go watch it.
I want to pay for a different movie though, and then sneak into that one
because
I don't want
just
any record of that.
I want to see old cat Judi Dench do some shit. I want to
Listen.
see Ian McKellen cat do some shit. This is
Licking
gonna
milk out of
get
a bowl. I don't think
so crazy.
But this is what gets me is that there was so much hullabaloo after the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer came out. People were like, "What the fuck is this?" So they
Changed
spent a
it.
shit ton of money and they changed it. And then people were like, "Oh, great!"
But
They
you
did
know,
change this too, because this is different than the original. If you check it out
No,
now.
I'm saying
the original trailer.
They changed the graphics.
They changed the graphics in this too. He was editing up until the very day.
Oh,
it
really?
came out.
Yeah, he
They
was like,
and
and
you
he
can
just
tell
didn't have enough time.
it did look better. No, it
Well,
did look better. It's just that you can't change what it is.
We've
It is
discussed
what it
we
is.
discussed this when the trailer came out. This and look, I'm in the major minority who loved Cats as a kid. I saw it live.
Same.
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
But this is some things are not meant to be adapted for screen.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those things. This was not something that ever should have been adapted for screen.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way to do it in a way that wasn't weird. Like there just isn't. You have like people acting like cats. It only works in a stage setting where you can suspend your disbelief.
It's the makeup that made it though. And that's the thing is they took something that was makeup driven and changed it into CGI, which made it creepy.
It's so
it just
creepy.
changed it into
like,
the worst way.
It's uncanny valley in a way that is so like awkward, but I am so down for the spectacle of it. I also like
Listen.
I want to see again. We're talking about like no shame. Like these celebrities had to have been paid so well
incredible.
because they don't have any shame about this at all. They're like,
no, they're
yeah,
like,
bitch,
fine.
what? Like,
exactly.
Speaking of, Jason Derulo's dick is back.
oh, and he came out. Okay, so Jason Derulo, as we talked about in a previous episode, big dick.
Yes.
Big dick. He came out in defense of himself in saying that his dick was not photoshopped, which we know I'm on the fence about.
Yeah.
He came out and said, no. My dick is so big that they had to edit it out of Cats.
Is that like a your mama joke? Like, yo, my dick's so big.
They had its own like graphic person for Cats.
Which
It's like we
I'm
got to
like,
take it
sir,
out of every scene.
That doesn't make sense because
Sir.
it's not like you were wearing a suit, right? Like we already discussed this. Like they were wearing motion capture suits, right? So all they would have had to do to avoid that is like not put any motion capture on his dick, and it wouldn't have shown up. Like, right? Isn't that how that works?
They had like 4 balls down there just to kid his motion capture. It was penis.
Like I like,
oh my god!
right? Or am I wrong about that?
I don't know, actually.
I don't know
I don't know
enough
enough
about
about
it. No, but
Because that's what he came out and said. He
the
was like, no,
best
I
excuse.
promise you I have a big dick. They had to edit it out of every scene of Cats that I'm in.
That is,
It's
well,
like Henry Cavill's mustache or whatever.
Oh,
It's like fucking Jason Derulo's dick.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
Well, speaking of dick, who are we gonna FMK
Dude.
this
We
week?
got a lot of Christmas suggestions.
Yes, and thank you.
Yes.
Which one was your favorite?
Well, you brought up Love Actually.
I think
love-
that's
and
a
I like
good
that.
idea.
I like
Love
the
Actually is
daddies. I
A
love
good idea.
Christmas daddies.
Christmas daddies is a good idea. The elves make me deeply
I
uncomfortable.
can't do that. I don't like it.
I don't think I can do the elves. So I don't know. I like Love Actually. There's a lot of dudes to choose from there.
I like
Correct.
either Love Actually or the Christmas daddies.
Yeah, I'm Love Actually.
Okay.
So who's your favorite guy from Love
Also,
Actually?
where do you guys stand on Love Actually? I love that movie, but it is
seen it
divisive.
only once.
I
time in my life.
rewatched it recently, and I loved that movie the first time I saw it. I freaking hated it the last
Really?
time I saw it, which was
Interesting. It's very divisive. People either
Yeah.
like it or they don't.
I've seen it once.
I know how problematic it is. I get it.
I've seen it
Still
one
love it.
time. I saw it last year for the first time. I am a person who sees something and then completely erases that memory from my brain.
Yeah.
So that I can open it for new things that matter more. Yeah, I don't remember very much of it. I do remember it kind of being like, I liked it. I thought it was enjoyable. I don't remember who the problematic characters are. So for me, my favorite person of all time is, what's his name? Snape.
Alan
Alan
Rickman.
Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
Okay.
I don't know how his character was in the movie though.
Ooh. Okay. So are you picking Alan Rickman?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
I'm just saying, I just love that guy. So I don't remember if he's shitty or not. But Christina's telling me he's pretty shitty. So is he the one who cheats on his wife? Okay, no, fuck him. No.
Yeah, he sure does.
Yeah, he does. Oh, and she has
Emma
that
Thompson,
moment.
that heartbreaking where Joni
she's
Mitchell's
listening to
playing, and you're like,
Oof.
so sad. Okay. You know, I am gonna pick just because I want to give us
Isn't Liam Neeson in that movie?
Liam Neeson's in that movie.
I've heard yesterday apparently that he has a baby arm for a dick too.
Oh yeah, apparently.
Oh dear.
Apparently,
It was-
notoriously.
It was Dude Face that was saying that. What was he saying? Why does he have? What is his knowledge of
Chris
Liam
agreed.
Neeson's?
Apparently, it's just common knowledge. Yeah, like.
Can you imagine, dude? If I was a guy and I was famous in Hollywood, I would start that rumor about myself.
Oh, for sure.
I would just say,
how big is Liam Neeson's dick? It's so big that
exactly.
So,
and his character's not shitty, right?
No, his character's good. So, but you know what? I'm gonna pick Andrew Lincoln.
I am gonna go for Martin Freeman.
You're gonna go Martin Freeman.
I
okay.
like his character in that
okay,
movie.
so we'll do storylines so that Cassie can have a full understanding. So
lost.
Liam Neeson's
and I'm the one who brought this up, by the way.
Character. I know it's like what you wanted to do. Liam Neeson's character, his wife dies in the beginning of the movie, and his stepson, who is the cute kid who runs through the airport at the end of the movie. Yeah, so that's his stepson, and he seems to be a very good stepfather, supportive dad type.
I love him already.
Okay. And Martin Freeman, his storyline is that he is a sex scene stand-in. And
my God. Okay, I remember that.
He gets to know a woman scene by scene during while they're doing sex scenes together.
Yeah.
And Andrew Lincoln, that's his name, right? From Walking Dead?
Yes. Yeah. Andrew Lincoln.
Yeah. His character is in love with his best friend's wife.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
He's the one who comes outside the window.
Right?
So that is the infamous scene from Love Actually that we now, 15 years later, or however long it is, look at very questionably.
Yeah, very differently.
That is one of
very
the
romantic.
That at the time everybody was like, "Aw," and now we're like, "Ooh,
how fucking dare you?
How fucking dare you?"
Audacity.
The audacity, and then for it to be written in as something romantic that Keira Knightley then runs out and gives him a kiss for.
I hate it.
And he shows up. Okay, so he does this big, wonderful gesture where we're like, he's the best friend, like best man. He's so amazing because he does this wonderful thing, surprise for Keira Knightley, and it's Chiwetel Ejiofor. And they're playing a married couple. They're getting married. And he does this wonderful surprise where he has a band stand up at the end of their ceremony and start playing All You Need Is Love. And there's a choir singing and it's beautiful. And you're like, what a good friend. And then you find out later that all of the footage that he took the entire wedding was close-up shots of Keira Knightley's fucking face.
It's kind of creepy.
And it's
I don't like it.
Real creep.
The fuck out of here.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you see the Boris Johnson video that he did? He took that fucking scene, went to like somebody's door and did the whole scene, but it was like a whole like vote for him campaign.
He's disgusting.
Gross.
Gross. If I opened the door and I saw that, I'm moving.
I would shut it right away.
Okay, so I know what I'm gonna do. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I am going to
based off characters
marry Liam Neeson's character. I think, because that is a devoted man. At the beginning, whenever his wife, who had just died of cancer, he's giving the eulogy and he plays the Bay City Rollers because that was her dying request. And then he goes on to be just a super wonderful, loving, supportive dad.
Perfect.
So, perfect man. I'm going to go with marrying Liam Neeson. I'm going to fuck Martin Freeman. Seems like it would be fun. He seems very conscientious of your needs.
Martin Freeman in that movie specifically looks like somebody that guy that loves to eat pussy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can't watch him in that movie and think like, oh, I bet you're great at sex. Like, I bet Liam Neeson's character is actually better at sex.
Right.
But
he looks like that guy that's just like, I love to eat pussy.
And he seems like he would take you out on like a nice date. You know what I mean? I think he would be like sweet to you. So I'm gonna go with that. And then I'm gonna totally kill Andrew Lincoln's character.
He's in everything.
Yeah.
Martin Freeman works everything
constantly. So I'm going to kill Andrew Lincoln for obvious reasons that we've already discussed.
I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Honestly,
I'm going to flip it up.
Okay, good. We need something.
I'm gonna kill Andrew Lincoln. I'm sorry.
Obviously.
It's creepy. It's weird, and I don't like it.
And Chiwetel needs better friends. Jesus.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna fuck Liam Neeson. Because
he would be better at it.
Yeah, he does. He looks good. He's like manly in it.
No kids, which is plus for you.
Liam Neeson. He has
no kids or Liam Neeson has the kid.
Kid, and I'm like, I'll fuck you, but I don't no.
This all makes sense for you right now.
Yeah, and
I see it.
Martin Freeman, I'm like, dude, we're gonna have some fun. Like, let's have an adventure.
And
like
he's like he's so sweet,
and
he's
even really funny and sweet.
Yeah, he's a porn stand-in throughout the whole movie. He is probably actually the most like conscientious of all the men in the movie. Like, he is so respectful of her.
Yeah.
Even whenever they're performing together, it's so cute. Whenever like the director's like, you need to cup her breasts, and he like warms them up first. He seems like he would be a really good supportive partner. So and they're the cutest couple in the movie. I think
so too. Yeah. All right. Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Yes. Okay. And we're back.
Yep. All right. I'm going to start us off because, do I have the crazy in love?
Oh, man. Scared and excited.
Yeah. Well, I went there. I fought it, but I went there. Sometimes I fought the law and the law won. Yes. You know. We all know what we're doing. Yeah. Okay. So this one we got emailed into us. The subject is my briefest date. He says, just heard your podcast for the first time. My worst date is hysterical, but I don't have it written down yet. Instead, I will share with you my briefest date, the summer of 1978.
That's the year I was born.
I will be married 30 years in May. Oh, congratulations. So despite how badly this story makes me look, I turned out to be a great husband and excellent father.
I love that. I love that he prefaced it. He's like,
the worst date.
He's like, listen, I know how this sounds.
I know
how it sounds, but I'm a really good guy, I swear.
I swear. Here's all my qualifications. Right up
my resume.
Okay. My date with an Irish girl. My grandfather, Dave, suffered from dementia during the last months of his life. He knew he was in hospital, but his memories were confused. As a young man, he was hospitalized after he fell off a horse in Ireland. He thought he was still that young man recovering from his fall and that his entire life was still ahead of him. Dave thought my aunt was his mother, my mother was his sister, and that I was his brother, Mike.
Oh.
Dementia is
worst.
really, it hits me hard. When we visited him, we all affected Irish accents. Over the course of many visits, my brogue became so convincing that a young nurse from Dublin thought I was from Ireland.
Oh,
honey.
Starting off the relationship with a lie.
Yes.
Great.
I've seen this. This is a rom-com, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is a Hallmark movie.
Mary Therese would always just happen to come into the room whenever I was visiting Dave. Because I only spoke to her in his presence, I had to stay in character.
Oh my God.
She knew me as Michael Wright from Templemore, Ireland. I'm a terrible actor.
Not bad.
Not bad.
You.
That was actually pretty good for you. I'm not gonna lie.
For you, that qualified.
I know.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, I'm terrible at them. My grandfather encouraged me to ask her out in her presence, so I did. She invited me to a block party in Edison Park, a neighborhood in Chicago. We met a few days later after her shift, and she was very disappointed to hear an American accent. I explained to her that I only affected the brogue for the sake of my grandfather and that my true name was John Morgan. She understood, but she had already told her friends she had met a nice Irish boy.
I mean, he's still Irish. Okay.
And also, like, I'm sure she'd been like, wait till you hear his fucking Irish accent. It is so fucking hot. Like, talking him up.
I'm still feeling so much sympathy for him, though, because I feel like if she really she works with dementia patients.
Right.
Like, she has to know.
The story makes sense so far. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you got the benefit of the doubt here. That's fine. She was afraid she would look like an idiot if she showed up with an American or no one at all. Since I did not know anybody in Edison Park, I offered to keep up the pretense to save her from embarrassment.
No.
We were only going to go out on this one date. I was not Irish enough for her. She had her heart set on dating another Irish immigrant like herself. Apparently, she had been burnt too many times by American men. Mary Therese introduced me to the other nurses, and one of her American friends said, "That's not John Morgan. That's David Potomac. He's a lifeguard at Oak Street Beach."
Oh my God.
What did you got? Oh no.
David Potomac was the alias I used for girls I met at the beach.
What the fuck?
So he's Michael Wright,
Yeah.
John Morgan,
Okay.
David Potomac.
This is a fucking movie. I swear to God.
Why? I don't understand the need for all these aliases.
Okay,
good,
so
though.
he says, David is my middle name, and Potomac was the street I lived on.
Amazing.
All the lifeguards used aliases because the girls we met at the beach sometimes neglected to tell us they had boyfriends. An alias made it harder for those boyfriends to find us.
I love it.
So
I'm here for
within
this.
half an hour, I went from Michael Wright to John Morgan to David Potomac. Mary Therese was completely humiliated.
Oh my God.
I turned to look at her. I could see a blinding fury building behind those big brown eyes. I was so scared. I turned and just ran away. I did not say one word. I just turned and ran. So considering it was a 15-minute ride from Park Ridge to Edison Park and our date ended almost the moment I met her friends, the date only lasted about 25 minutes.
Oh.
I mean, she should have just gone by herself and explained what happened. If
Dude.
you know, like I think that would have been the better move.
The better move.
Yeah.
For sure. Or explain when they got there and been like, oh, I didn't realize that this was something.
No.
I've only ever talked to him when he was around his dad.
Yeah, like what a weird choice
Yeah.
for it to be like, no, keep the Irish accent through this date.
Yeah,
like that's
But
such
you
a
wouldn't
strange.
mind.
But then to get busted like
3 times. 3 ways.
Which
Yeah.
also, can we talk about how much like David Potomac sounds like a fake name?
It does.
It really
Like that doesn't
does.
sound like a real name.
But
Oh my
speaking of
God.
using fake names, like honestly, like I worked at a salon where you had to change your name if somebody already had your name,
Right.
which I did, and so I worked by Roxy, and it was great because if I ran into people like out, I'd be like, oh, I know you from the salon, Roxy. If you called me
Right.
that, I knew right away.
Yeah.
And it's funny because even still people that I used to work with at Pin Zones will still be like, hey, Roxy. And I'm like,
It's
and they're
weird
like,
that they
"Oh, I'm
made
so
you
sorry. It's my
change
mom's
your name though.
Oh, well, there was another Cassie. And so we
Yeah,
had
but I
over
worked at a
600
salon.
employees with
Oh, okay.
one call center where
I see.
all the calls came in. So if you had the same name as somebody else, it's so easy to mess
I
up your
see.
bookings. So
Yeah, I worked at a salon where we had 2 Shannas, and I feel like Shanna isn't even like that possible, like that popular of a name.
Cassie isn't either. So the fact that there was one, I was like, that I thought for sure that was like, what do you mean I have to change my name? That's so weird, you know?
There are like a million variations of Christy.
Oh, yeah.
that sort of thing.
Christina, yeah, for sure. Okay, so this came in through an email. It is also from a guy. So we've got
Thanks.
Dudes
Let's
Day.
hear it for the boys.
And he says, so here's a story for you. I met a guy on the dance floor at a gay bar, and we drunkenly smooched, exchanged numbers, and then talked some until we finally did the unthinkable and actually scheduled a date.
Ooh, hey. Yeah. Sounds about right.
Here's where the fun begins. I pick him up at his place in downtown. He had no car because he lives walking distance from his work, and all his activities are close by. Understood.
Makes sense.
Especially like in a city like LA or New York, like that's totally normal.
Well, I mean, like New York, yes, because if for whatever reason you need to get to the other side of the city,
can
it's
take
not
the
that
subway.
big of a deal. But in LA, like, yes, you can live and work and just keep to your neighborhood or whatever. But I still feel like LA, you have to have a car.
I
here.
didn't
You
have a car
to.
for years, and it was terrible. It was because the city is so big. But I could see if you were living, like, say you were living in WeHo, you know what I mean, and you worked in WeHo, and you didn't care to leave the area, then I could see that because it's just like if everything you do is walking distance, you're limiting yourself, of course.
Yeah.
but there's Uber and there's enough ways to get around
That's
the city.
true.
That
That's
you can,
actually true.
I personally wouldn't want to live in the city without a car again. It was really tough for me, but if you know, I could see it. And we head to a cute wine bar that I had suggested. He wasn't the best at conversation, but he was cute and decent enough to continue conversation and enjoy our wine. The alcohol did, however, seem to loosen him up some, and as the night progressed, he suggested we go for a dance at a fun club close by.
Nice.
I am always up for some dancing, so I said sure. Now, let it be known that there was a sign that things might be going south for our friend whenever he spilled his glass of wine on the couple who was on a date next to us.
Oh.
But I just chalked it up to us both being Latin and gay, and we're very aggressive with how we
hands.
gesticulate with our hands and arms.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
see this.
understand.
I love it.
That's some
Painting
shit I
a
would do for
picture.
sure.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
I talk with my hands a lot, and I think I could see myself if I'd had a lot to drink and had a glass of wine in my hand getting a little free. Okay.
All worked up. Yeah.
We end up at dance club numero uno, where he proceeds to order doubles of whatever he's drinking. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to notice his dance skills to be a little less coordinated, shall we say. He then gets us shots, which I decline, but he has both of ours. Oh. Okay. We then walk over to club number 2, where I try to get us waters, but he once again orders a double of something.
Oh.
If you don't know, the gays already do very heavy pours as it is. So this was really going for it.
You know, when we went to see, because I do RuPaul's Drag Race with my brother and his husband, and two cocktails are what I'm allowed in West Hollywood.
That's it.
And girls, you know, I can fucking hold my own.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I have 2.
Same.
I have 2, and I'm stumbling up the hill to my fucking house, like drunk off my ass.
Everyone at this table can drink. Like, we can drink. I remember.
We can't WeHo drink.
I went out with Anthony's cousin and his friend in WeHo, and we went out dancing, and it was really fun. But I do remember thinking at the end of the night, I was wasted.
Yeah,
like could barely
pour.
stand wasted. And I remember thinking, like, I don't think I had that many drinks.
Yeah.
I think I had maybe like 3 drinks.
Yeah.
And I was like, could
Done.
barely stand. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
So it is no joke. I try to get us to mingle and chat, where he admits to the fact that he has severe social anxiety, and the only thing that helps is alcohol. So that prior to our date, he had 4 shots of vodka. 4. Meaning at this point, he's at 4 shots of vodka, half a bottle of wine, 2 double vodka tonics, and 2 tequila shots.
Holy shit.
And he's also declared me as the love of his life.
Oh,
and
okay.
he's so upset because he's moving away and he doesn't know what to do with his life now that he's met me.
Oh, no.
I know I'm a catch, but this was a lot.
Drunken declaration. Let me tell you how many things that I declare when I'm a couple deep, and they are V important and are V true in that moment.
That's a shame, Mercy. He
In that moment.
He woke up with the mother of all hangovers the next day, just like,
God damn. Yeah,
in a cold
and he's
sweat.
like, thank God I'm moving.
Yeah, honestly.
Already taken care of.
So at this point, I try to get us upstairs to the upstairs part of the club so he can sit and have water. This is where shit goes real south for yours truly.
Oh, no.
He can barely walk and then just stops me halfway up the stairs and attempts a sultry, sensual stare at me as if he wanted us to have a moment. Oh my God. Isn't it fun when really drunk people do that? And like they think they're looking sexy, but it's like their eyes are crossed. Yes. Yeah. Their eyes are glassy.
It reminds me of that meme where it's like, this is what you think you look like when you're staring at me.
Yes. This is what you actually look
like. And it's
like.
like Samuel Jackson with those real big ass crazy eyes. He's like,
Yes. From Black Snake Moan. It's like, you think you're being hot, but actually I'm terrified. I see murder right now. I try and get him to continue walking, but he then proceeds to unzip his pants and whip out his Lil Tito.
Oh, no. Let me tell you what you never want to hear your dick described as.
Lil Tito. L-I-L. Tito.
Lil Tito.
no, that's the worst rap name ever.
That's the name of this fucking episode.
Lil Tito.
Oh, God. I leap into action, tuck it back in, and declare that it is time for us to leave.
You are literally putting your hood on right now.
No, they're in a club. They're in like,
a club,
public.
and he whips out Lil
His
Tito.
dick. And you have to put his dick back in his
Thank you for your gesturing. Okay, your gesturing is the reason why sometimes I wish that we videoed this, because you're literally like your hand is like palm up, like tucking it in.
I could see it.
Like a little
it's
kid.
It's little
You're
little
just scooping
balls
it.
and
There's
little
just a scoop.
right inside, and then zippity zip.
A scoop and a tuck.
A little
zip zop zoop.
I don't.
Zatarans.
jazz that night up with some Zatarans.
Jazzing it up with Zatarans over here.
Oh, God. I tried walking him to my car, and it was proving to be a challenge because homeboy could not walk straight to save his life and kept falling over. So then I had to basically carry him. Halfway to my car, which was maybe 3 blocks away, he nosed.
Oh,
what?
No.
He nose dives it, and I go along with him. And the back of his skull makes a resounding thud on the pavement beneath him.
Oh my God.
He's
concussion.
Thankfully, he does not lose consciousness, but small trickles of blood do start to creep down his neck.
Oh, no.
I am at this point cursing my fate and wishing I was an asshole that would have no qualms with just leaving this man-child to his demise and let him be. Alas,
head wounds bleed a lot.
No.
And you're drunk.
Yes.
Yikes.
Yeah, your blood is
Thin.
thin. Yeah, you cannot leave somebody in that situation.
You're like, let's go home and take a nap.
Let's just
Wow, don't do that.
go to bed.
This is
Do
the
not
worst
do
advice
that.
podcast
Yes.
ever.
Do
Don't
not do that. Look, head injury. Stay awake. You stay awake.
Now you have to stay awake with this drunk asshole.
Oh my God.
Take it to the hospital. You take little Tito to the hospital.
Well, he took little Tito back home. He says, I dropped him off with his roommate who, as luck would have it, was a nurse.
There you go.
There you go.
And also apparently
case.
not surprised that this had happened.
Oh.
That's not good.
That is no longer his roommate.
And then he says, does this count as a bad date? I would hope so. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it does.
It does count
sounds
as a bad
terrible.
Thank you.
date. It sounds
Anyone
awful.
on a date ever whipped their dick and balls out in the middle of public?
Nah.
We done.
Yeah,
son.
we've had many stories on this podcast where it's just like, if you get too drunk, like, no. Okay. Oh, by the way, I let the fucker take me out to a sober meal as an apology for what he put me through. A girl's got to eat, right?
Yeah, there you go.
He never heard from me again after that. Yours truly, who has given up on dating, Jose.
Oh, Jose. Dude, I'm going to be using Lil Tito for from now until eternity. I fucking love that so much.
Awful.
I just want to hang out with Jose. I feel like
know.
he's got so many
I
stories.
know. I bet he does. If
feel
you have
like-
more stories, Jose, please feel free. Write them in.
Jose, I have not been let down by that story at all. I am the impressed.
Just for me, the thing that sticks out the most is the idea of having to tuck somebody's dick and balls back into
your
their pants.
hand gesture,
And you-
just palm up, like here,
Yeah.
here you go.
It reminds me of the like Nickelodeon slime for some reason. Is
Yeah,
what
where
came
you're
into
just
my
like,
head. Where you're like,
Yeah,
like
like flubber, where
Yeah.
you're just kind of like,
because you know it's all like soft and sad.
yeah, that's exactly right. It's not like it was hard. Like, what's happening? I don't love it. Okay.
Okay. So this week, my story came from Reddit, and it is. I think it's personally very funny, and I get super triggered by it. So I think you will enjoy it as well. It is called Mountain Wedding from Hell.
Mountain wedding.
Oh, I love bad wedding stories.
Me
If
too.
you have any of those, send them in.
Yes.
Mountain wedding makes me think of like Deliverance.
Oh shit.
But you know what? I've seen some really beautiful ones. Like,
Yeah. That
I
doesn't
think
make
if
me
you
think that at all.
hire a good enough photographer, I'm like, ooh, this looks scenic and gorgeous.
Yeah, right? All right. Anyway, so I met this guy on Tinder, went bowling and hooked up. Then he invited me to his friend's wedding. First date and second date at the wedding date were about a week apart. So literally first date, they go bowling and take care of business.
Yep.
Sometimes you do that.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Fine.
And she's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll go to this wedding with you. Seems a little fast for me, but
Where do you guys stand on that?
I am going to need several dates before I'm comfortable bringing you to a wedding. Because it's kind of that office party thing. And
Yeah,
like
open bar.
open
I
bar.
don't- we just had-
and
what
my
if you took little
closest
Tito
fucking friend
to an open bar?
I am a girl who's generally on my best behavior. I'm lying. I'm never on my best behavior. I think in my 20s me would be like, sure, okay. I mean, I've
bring
already
whoever
boned. I
to
mean,
a-
it's not like
a
I don't
wedding.
know where your dick is. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think 20s me, well, I'm still in my 20s, but barely. But I think that younger me would go to a wedding, but I don't know if
I would
now
bring-
would advise to go to a wedding that quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's just
now
like
me
you
would
don't.
tell 20-year-old me, like, don't
Yeah,
do that. That's dumb.
and you're going to meet like friends, family, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It
Sounds
feels
super
too fast
awkward.
food.
Yeah. And open bar. Like, watch it. Watch
Yeah.
yourself.
Okay. I was a little unsure, but the wedding was really relaxed at a mountaintop, and there was a reception. The reception was at a steakhouse, so I agreed to go. Okay, so like
Okay, so it's kind
under
of a
those
chill,
conditions,
okay,
right?
a casual wedding.
Casual.
Sounds like.
We agreed on a time for him to pick me up about an hour before that time, he texts me that he is coming now. I explain that I am not ready. He says, but I'm ready now. I explained that I
red
need
fucking flag.
the originally said time to get ready. Eventually, I rush and I'm ready in 30 minutes because he's insisting on coming now. This is your worst nightmare,
Okay,
Keegan.
then you can fucking go to that wedding by yourself.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, you invited me to come with you. So, and you gave me a time when you were going to pick me up. So either come at that time or go by your fucking self.
Yeah, well, you can actually sit in your car while I finish getting ready. That's fine too.
I'm also somebody who like
You're getting ready for a wedding,
right? And I do like I make sure that I look nice, and I make sure that I'm on time. But I do wait to do because.
Yes,
Your makeup has to last all night. So
Right.
I wait to do it until right before.
Yep.
So that it'll last all night. Your hair and your makeup.
And if you're anything like me, and I believe you as well, Keegan, I think that I know exactly how long it takes me. If I am going out semi-cash but still want to put makeup on, it's 30 minutes. If I am going to the nines, it's an hour. I want a full hour to sip some coffee while I'm doing it, or wine, or whatever I'm doing.
Right.
Go through the motions of it. I have a routine.
Yeah. Right. And when I always think this, I think this every time when I went on this photo shoot one time, and there was like a model there, and she was saying, what she said to me was, makeup hates rushing. And what she meant by that was like, if you want to look good, you take your time to look good. You give yourself enough time to make sure you look good. And if I'm dressing for a wedding, I also don't want to be in that outfit for fucking like forever. So I wait to put it on.
That's exactly right. You don't want it to wrinkle. You don't want it to look frumpy.
Yeah. So fuck this guy is what I'm trying to say. Long story short.
I knew that would be your trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go by yourself.
Okay. Bye. He picks me up and we're going up the mountain. I tell him that I'm afraid of heights. This is literally, if I could pick a worst date for Keegan. This is legitimately T to B, Keegan's worst date. He picks me up. We're going up the mountain. I tell him I'm afraid of heights and that driving up mountain always makes me nervous. He tells me that he always speeds on it and proceeds to do that. Then goads me with, look, I'm speeding and there's no guardrail here. What's going to happen? I just literally
hate this psychopath. I fucking hate him because, first of all, it's just inconsiderate.
Yep.
Like, it's just inconsiderate of the person that you're with. Like, if it was any other situation and they said the same thing, it would still be fucking inconsiderate.
Right.
Secondly, it is super triggering for me because I had a major accident off the side of a mountain, and I white knuckle drive through mountains now.
Yeah.
So if somebody, just for the fucking fun of it, was racing up a mountain and taunting me with the fact we might roll over the side, I would lose my shit on that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is your worst fucking date.
It actually is. Yeah.
Your worst fucking date.
I hate him a lot.
So at this point, I'm pissed. We make it up to the top of the mountain and I'm stuck. He does not introduce me to anyone. Go watch the wedding and I'm ahead of him, and he tried pinching my butt. I fucking hate this.
No, this
and I told him not to do that.
Head is on fire.
I'm so mad.
I told him not to do that, but I don't want to make like a huge fuss. Wedding is over and now the reception. I stupidly didn't want to embarrass the guy, so I went to the reception. While waiting for the room and to be seated, he continually pinched my butt and bit my shoulder, trying to be sexy.
And you're trapped. Like, you're trapped with all of his people, all of his friends and family on the top of a mountain.
I hate it.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
He then told me that because his friend is in the military, he missed the birth of his child and that he likes to remind him of it like isn't it so funny that I held your child before you did? I tried to say,
why does this man have friends? Why is anyone your friend? Why did
were
you
you
get invited
invited
to
to a
this
wedding?
wedding? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Oh my
wow.
God.
I tried to say that it was fucked up and and he said I was being oversensitive. Oh, I hate this guy so much. After dinner was done, I never saw him again, and I explained that I wasn't interested, and he made a Facebook status of another one bites the dust.
Oh, I wonder why another
God.
one bites the dust.
Your passive aggressive vague booking makes me think that you have a Lil Tito.
Oh, motherfucker.
Wow.
That one made me the most angry.
Yeah. Well, today, 3 or 4 years later, he tried to add me on Facebook. I declined. Asked him, do not contact me again. And he said, didn't mean to relive the trauma. Ugh, what a fucking monster. Get the fuck out of here.
You know it is so bad when somebody doesn't just silently decline.
Yeah.
When they have to actually send you a message, a cease and desist.
Exactly.
Yes, like notification.
Absolutely fucking not, sir.
And don't do it again. Don't do it again. Wow. We're not here for it.
We're not. No. You know what we are here for? Okay. So this episode comes out on Christmas Day, and I looked and scoured and read about so many Christmas murders. But this is a Crazy in Love. I fought against my instinct. It kept coming up into my head.
Mm-hmm. You had no choice.
I had no choice. It chose me, really.
It was time. It's time we've
done
it.
It is time for us to talk about Scott Peterson.
Here it goes.
I'm ready Scott and Laci.
Scott and Laci.
All right. This is a heavy hitter.
Now, this is a heavy hitter. I want to say that throughout the years, I have consumed a shit ton of media stuff about this. So I had a certain view of the case.
Mm-hmm. We all did.
We all did.
I mean, this is one thing. What year was this?
2002.
2002. I was 12, and I remember this like it was on every news station,
right? It was
all the time.
I was 20, so it was probably one of the very. It's a crime that I definitely followed.
I feel like this and the Casey Anthony story were very close.
Very close.
And both of those were very...
And it was really the beginning of the infotainment as news.
Oh, you're so right.
It absolutely
Nancy
was.
Goddamn Grace.
And it was the beginning of us being like inundated with true crime in this way.
Right.
And also, even to this day, I feel like there aren't that many cases that the entire country gets wrapped up in.
Right.
And this was one. Casey Anthony was another one.
O.J. Simpson.
You know, O.J. Simpson. Like there are certain like landmark enormous cases that the entire country gets brought in on. And this was one.
Now, I also watched the new thing that was up on Prime.
Like a documentary, right?
Yeah, it was on like ID initially, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it was like something, the thing of Laci Peterson or whatever.
It's kind of like in the arguments for Scott Peterson.
Correct. Okay. So I've gotten both sides.
I watched the first episode of that. I didn't finish it.
But
I watched the first one. Okay.
I also went to several different Reddit threads. And
you know Reddit gets it done.
Reddit gets it done. So like I feel that I know this case, and while this could be something that stretches out for several hours, obviously there's so much stuff out there. I'm going to condense it. We're going to go through it. We all know basically kind of what happened, but I'm going to say why it's Crazy in Love and just kind of go through it. So, okay. Scott Peterson on December 24th, which is Christmas Eve of 2002, leaves his house around 9:30 and drives 90 miles away to go fishing. Okay.
Like you do on Christmas Eve. That's very common.
When you have a wife who's like 8 months pregnant at home.
Yeah. To Berkeley Marina. So I'm sorry. We're all in sweaters right now, are we not?
In Southern California.
In Southern California.
Yeah. Northern California.
Yeah. He's going to go out on a motherfucking lake on Christmas Eve and leave his 8-month pregnant wife at home with a list of chores to do.
Okay.
It reminds me a lot of the Susan Powell where he was like,
I know. He's
mid-December and he's like, we went camping. It's like, sir, why? When?
Why?
No one.
No, you didn't.
And I understand. Okay, we'll get into it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
We're never going to make it through this story. It's going to be 3 hours long.
Oh, I know.
Sorry.
No.
Merry Christmas. This is your present from us. A 3-hour episode.
Exactly. The day before that night, they had went to her sister's, and Amy had gotten her hair done. And Scott had offered to pick up a gift basket because they were supposed to do Christmas dinner like at her parents' house. And so he's going to pick up a gift basket, and he had told her sister like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go play golf tomorrow. So that's already like kind of weird, and like a couple people thought he was playing golf. No one knew A, that he was fishing because he's not a fisherman, and B, it's just fucking weird to go fishing on Christmas Eve 90 miles away from your house.
If for some reason Chris tells you guys that on Tuesday he is going to go fishing, call me.
Do a wellness check.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's fucking weird. It's weird.
Chris does not fish.
Exactly. If he's not, it's just weird. Anyways, Also, no one knew he had a boat, but we'll get to that. So he comes back. Well, first he calls Laci around 2:45 and leaves a voicemail, which you can hear. It's the, "Hey, beautiful, I'm just now leaving Berkeley. I wasn't able to pick up the basket for Papa, so I was hoping you could go out there and get it.
You weren't able to because you're so busy.
I know you have a list of fucking chores.
And I'm 8 months pregnant.
You can go on YouTube and listen to this fucking message.
I've heard it. Yeah, they played it in the very first episode of that series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you
because you know she's dead by that point.
Yeah, and it just sounds so forced to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to go into this with an open mind. So I was just like, okay, like, I don't like his tone on this. You can't convict someone on a tone. I kept saying that. You can't convict someone just because of this. You can't convict someone just because of this. But you keep saying that over and over and over and over again with
the
every single thing.
Shit. Yeah. I do wonder, like, you know, I've been listening to a lot of Dateline as I was baking cookies.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to Dateline podcast. Mm-hmm. And I did wonder while I was listening to it if, because we listen to so many things where we have this like audio media format now where we listen to things so often, I do wonder if our ears pick up things that we didn't whenever we were just watching, because I find myself listening to Dateline and being like, I don't trust that bitch immediately.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, because I think you pick up shit like in people's voices now that maybe we didn't before.
Well, that's always why like voice acting is so there's so much into it, because you are removing 58% of the way that we communicate is through body language and through our eyes, like how I communicate with Cassie.
Right.
She can see me. I can gesticulate. I can do a lot of things. She can look at my face and study my face. She's getting 58% of what I'm saying from that.
Right.
But 35% is from tone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So someone who is able to lie convincingly on like an audio recording or something like that, I think they're the most scary people.
Oh, totally.
Because like they're on a different level altogether. And I agree with you. When I listen to that message, it feels like bad acting.
It's a lie regardless. Even if he didn't kill her, we still know what else he's doing when he's saying all this shit like, I love you, hey beautiful. We still know all the other fucking shit he's getting down with. So regardless, like, your ears picking up on that lie because it's a lie. Mm-hmm. Whether he killed her or not, you can hear the lie in that. Anyways, so he goes back. He notices that his dog, Mackenzie, is in the backyard and has his leash still attached, which is fucking weird, but it's in the backyard. Laci's car, her Land Rover, is there. And all of her stuff's there, but she's not there. So here's what he does. His 8-month wife is not there, but all of her stuff's there. I too wouldn't necessarily go worst case scenario.
Right,
at
maybe
that
she
point.
went for a walk. Like, you don't
Without
know
the
necessarily.
dog?
Yeah.
Like, but I mean,
the dog got loose, came back.
I wouldn't necessarily go worst case at that moment either. I'd be like, okay, maybe, you know, she's at the neighbors.
And this is
maybe something happened.
This is before cell phones, so you couldn't text and be like, hey babe, where are you? You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. Like, I think through that scenario, I think the very first thing I would do would be, it's Christmas Eve, coming home. This is kind of weird. All of her stuff's here. I'd probably make a phone call or
family.
two.
Yeah, maybe call the sister, call her parents, say like, oh, did she stop by? Did you guys come pick her up for something? Maybe something like that. And then, to be honest, I might give it an hour or like a little while to be like, maybe she's out. Maybe she'll be home soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe she may get a quick run to the store to get that basket you didn't get.
Right. And made your 8-month pregnant wife do. But no, so he decides to take all of the dirty clothes out of the washer and wash only his clothes.
Okay.
And make himself some food and take a shower. And then finally calls her parents and is like, hey, is Laci with you? Like, Laci is missing. And her mom is like, wait, what? No, she's not with us. Like, And it was so weird the way that he phrased it, like literally just saying like she's missing instead of like, hey, do you know where?
What normal person would jump to the words missing?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Strange.
Like honestly, if you know how we get with Christina when she's been out on dates,
of course.
Like if we had collectively as a girl squad decided that like something had happened, or we couldn't get a hold of her, we would be calling people and we'd be saying, hey, have you heard or seen Christina?
Like we have done before, and then threaten to go over the hill when she doesn't text back because her phone's on silent.
Right? Like I mean, I would never.
You never be like Christina's missing,
right? I wouldn't be like she's missing. I'd be like she's somewhere, but I haven't seen her. Have you seen her? Have you heard from her?
Right?
Yeah.
So it's actually the first phone call to police is made by Laci's stepfather, who is like her father. He like raised her. But yeah, he's the one that calls the police and is like, she's 8 months pregnant. No one's heard from her since,
Weird that your husband didn't make that call. Yeah. There is a 0% chance that Anthony wouldn't be the one to call the police.
Thank you.
Oh
my God.
Chris same. Yeah. Like 100% they would be the person to call.
100%.
Yeah. So the police like come and check things out. They are immediately suspicious of Scott because his fucking behavior is bizarre. And again, you can't convict someone just because, and grief and stress hit people in different ways.
Yeah.
So I get it. And this is not alone enough to be like, he's fucking guilty because he's acting weird, but he was acting really weird. And statistically, when a pregnant woman goes missing, it's something like over 90% of the time, it's the person that got them pregnant that made them go missing.
Yes.
It just them's the facts. So
well, I mean, and not that we want to be these people that are like, the husband always did it, but this is a crazy in love, first of all.
Yeah.
And then secondly, that is who you look at first. You look at the people who are closest to them. And then if their behavior is also weird on top of that,
I know,
you're like, this doesn't seem... Look, man, I know that everyone grieves differently, but even if I wasn't, but especially if I was 8 months pregnant with Anthony's child.
Right.
And I went missing, he would lose his fucking mind.
And if he didn't, he would be dead because Christina and I killed him.
Because it would be so,
because I would yes.
But it would, because if he didn't, it would be so strange that you'd be like, what did you do?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because that's a normal response. It's biological. This is your wife, but it's also your kid.
You're at this point viable kid with a name. His name is Connor. You know what I mean?
8 months. You're a month away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they immediately are like looking at him and they talk with him, and then they're not super, super suspicious, even though his behavior is strange, because the family rallies behind him 100%. They're like, it absolutely isn't Scott. They have a fucking great marriage. We stand behind him. He had nothing to do with her disappearance. There is some weirdness with this story when they finally get it out of him that he goes from
you were
golf
doing what now?
To fishing.
Fishing?
And he has the like receipt and he's like, this is where I was 90 miles away and stuff. And they're like, okay, all right, well,
weird.
All right, weird. But the family invites him over afterwards. Since by this point, like almost 2 a.m, he declines. So what do? Once you talk to the police, you've had that initial interview, your fucking pregnant wife is missing. Your family's like, come be with us, that sort of thing. He declines and he goes to his warehouse to just clean stuff up and reorganize stuff.
And you're right, Christina, that you do find yourself saying over and over, you're like, well,
I don't know what I'd do. It wouldn't probably
You don't know what
that.
you do.
Right. I do
everyone grieves differently.
I do see that I'm a cleaner when I'm stressed out. If I'm stressed,
right, but
I do clean.
Wouldn't you want to be home just in case somebody called?
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to be with family just in case somebody...
I wouldn't go to my family's house. I will say that. But what I would do would be like, would you please come to my house? I just want to be here in case she shows up. I don't necessarily want to be alone or whatever, or whether you want to be alone or not. I'm going to stay at the house.
Yeah, you can't clean your house. Like if you're a cleaner and you need to be like...
She had a list of chores. So.
Yeah, you are right. Well, should have done those chores before she went missing.
Speaking of the house, because Laci was an immaculate homeowner, was very, very clean. Something that people thought was very strange was there was a bottle of ranch dressing left out on the counter, and Scott hated ranch dressing. They had pizza the night before. Laci loved it. Mm-hmm. So that's just one thing to keep in the back of your head. Also, there was a yellow pages open to defense lawyers. So again,
what?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, again, reserve. all kinds of like weird stuff. Because I was like, you know what? I'm not going to just take Nancy Grace's word for it.
Exactly.
Never on shit. I am going to actually look to see what the fuck happened in this case. So, okay, they're getting tips galore because even though it's Christmas Eve, like we talked about, this infotainment news thing has just taken off. Mm-hmm. And what is more
scandalous?
Beautiful woman, beautiful, perfect life in sunny California.
Because I will say,
missing on Christmas.
Laci and Scott, beautiful couple, actually. Like, you know, beautiful, they're both good looking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and... yeah, I've seen their wedding photo a million times.
And she's white.
And then and she's white. Yeah. And then you have that conference though that got me. I remember it from when it aired, but when the mom and the dad went on, and then the dad did the dad cry, and he like broke down. He's like, "We just want," and like the old man cry. I cannot.
Makes my eyes well up immediately.
I cannot. I was like immediately once. But then you have a Scott who like wants nothing to do with the media. And not only that, now the family's getting weird because they're asking him questions and he's not really talking to them either. So they're not outright suspicious yet, but it's just weird.
Tables are turning.
And the media is starting to be like, why won't you talk to us? Like the mom and the dad are really open and out there, like, please bring her home. They're very emotional. And then you have dead eyes Scott, just not really, you know, being there or being what people expect a grieving father to be. But again, you cannot convict people.
Here's the other side of that coin, is because there's a lot of cases in which they're like, do not talk to the media, whatever you do, especially in missing person cases, because then, you know, unless it's with the police and whatever, and you're making a statement, because there's been a lot of cases where they're like, they just wouldn't shut up to the media. So it's like, you get both sides.
I agree. But I do assume that the police probably gave them the go ahead to get this story out there if the rest of the family was talking.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So then that would mean to me that maybe he's working with a lawyer who's telling him not to talk to the media or something like that.
A defense lawyer specifically.
Also, he is a really bad actor.
Yeah.
We know that even if we want a devil's advocate that he didn't kill Laci, his acting, like hiding both of his relationships from the prospective women in this case, is not good. So maybe that's something that he knew about himself and was like, I'm just going to stay away.
Well, yeah. And meanwhile, one of the very first questions that Scott asks the police, very strange first question to ask once like everything's settled and like they're like, okay, we're going to start searching for Laci. We'll try to find her. He's like, are there going to be cadaver dogs involved?
What a weird thing to say. Like, because, okay, again, and I know that this isn't like everyone's experience, but we're going to just use Anthony and I as an example throughout this.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to continue this narrative.
No, but what I'm saying is your loving husband, I think, would probably want to assume that you were alive.
Correct.
Yes.
Throughout this situation. They would want to assume that this was a missing person case. They would not want to assume that that you were dead somewhere.
Okay.
So for them to immediately say, where are the cadaver dogs, is
or
saying that he thinks she's, or are you bringing them? Yeah. Is that he thinks she's dead.
So the question I have for that devil's advocate, I do believe Scott Peterson did it. So in no way am I fucking justifying.
No, but I like this
any
conversation.
Fucking thing about him.
Yeah.
But okay. So I put Anthony in that situation. Anthony asks something like that, the reason I assume Anthony would ask is he wants to know what the police think. Do you think she's dead? Should I start to worry that she's dead?
Right. That's interesting. But what he does with the information is he decides to take a specific tarp that was covering or that was in his boat and put it underneath a leaky leaf blower to cover it with gas. So much gas that the police have to then, when they do bring the dogs that next day, have to air out that tarp. But just interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Not enough to convict.
Taking in the
this
information.
Is all just like taking in information.
Scott did it. Sorry, I had to clear my throat.
Meanwhile, a woman appears. Amber Fry.
Oh, Amber Fry.
God
bless.
Fry.
I have a lot of sympathy for Amber Fry, actually.
I really do, because she got wrapped up in this shit, and I'm sure it really
And this was not the same time, but in the same era as like Monica Lewinsky, right? Where we're like put so much like hate
and vitriol
onto the other woman, like hardcore.
And she had no idea she was the other
didn't
woman.
know. And like, even if she did know, she didn't know, which brings a whole different, like, but even if she did know, does she deserve what happened after?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it's, ugh.
So Scott Peterson was a fertilizer salesman, which is so funny. He sold shit.
Sounds right.
Amazing.
Fucking fitting. So sometimes on his shit sales, he had to do shit conferences. And I guess he met up with ladies on the side because Amber Fry was just the latest in his string of affairs. He had had at least 2 others before, even though him and Laci had only been married for a few years. He just couldn't keep it in his pants.
Lil Tito had come out.
Lil Tito. Mm-hmm. Ugh, gross. Like, if you don't want to be married and you don't want to have a kid, then don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
Don't fucking do it.
Yeah, isn't that a weird, like,
but he
psychological,
acted like he wanted to, because he had lots of flowers, roses, romantic stuff, but at the same time needed to go get some punan on the side. And it's like, what the fuck?
It's a very strange, like, psychological study of, like, is it just that feeling of like, that this is what's expected of you, to have like a wife and a family and like the house and the picket fence and the dog and the kid, that you feel like you are compelled to do this thing when you don't want to do it? Because why?
Obviously
like you could
feel
just
trapped,
be a bachelor.
Exactly. It's so weird. So anyways, Amber Fry comes forward and decides very like bravely, I might add, to start taping their phone conversation.
Can you imagine thinking that you are with somebody who is single and then all of a sudden he's all over the guy you're dating is all over the news?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For killing his wife?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is they had their first date November 20th of 2002. So like
Jesus.
Too fast food. Bye.
Very too fast food. Within like the first date, he was saying the L word, which, that makes me want to fucking vomit. That's weird. Anyone that does that on the first date with you, it's not genuine. They don't know what love means.
No.
They're love bombing you. It's a red flag. Run the fuck away. That's scary, creepy, and I don't like it at all. So he was doing that stuff to her. She was young, single mother. She got wrapped up in it, whatever. December 9th, he tells her like he's really upset. This is going to be his first Christmas without his wife because he had lost his wife. So either he's guilty or he's clairvoyant.
Wow.
So
yeah,
that was
he knew that the clock was a ticking. That's why he did it on Christmas Eve.
He bought the boat shortly after that, which is a large purchase to make on your own without telling anyone, because no one in the family knew he had this boat. And again, he was not a fisherman. So December 20th is when he buys the pass to go fishing in the Berkeley Marina.
Interesting.
Even though he had told everybody he was going to go golfing. Never said anything about fishing until after all this shit went down. And then...
Okay, you're not a fisherman. You decide to start fishing at the end of December.
No, and actually his excuse for it was that boat was actually a surprise for Laci's stepfather, who is an avid fisherman.
So you decided to take it out for a spin first? Oh, you motherfucker.
The day before you're going to give it to him?
I'm going to use it.
Also weird. I'd like to use your gift.
I'm going to go ahead and try this out real quick.
I'm going to pre-use your gift.
And if I was her stepdad, I'd be like, motherfucker, don't bring me into this shit.
Right.
Absolutely fucking not.
No. Yeah. So she starts taping his phone calls, which the one that really rubs me fucking raw is him celebrating New Year's by the Eiffel Tower with the fireworks with his friends Pasquale and Francois.
This fucking asshole. I remember that phone call. That phone call is so fucked up.
It's
because
so bad.
You know that he is not in France, and you can hear, and she knows he's not in France, and you can hear the phone call where he's like, oh, it's so beautiful, babe. I just wish you were here with me, babe. I love you so much. I'm looking at the Eiffel Tower right now. And you're like, I fucking hate you.
He is at a candlelight vigil
for his
fucking
wife.
missing wife.
I'm sorry.
No, you can't convict just based on that. But how many times have I fucking said that right now? I think that shows a complete lack of empathy in a way that makes me think that you are absolutely capable of murder.
And again, you can't go to jail for being a bad person. But
you are a full-on narcissist.
You are a full-on psychopath.
Psychopathic tendencies. Honestly, is it wrong that I'm the most upset as a French person that he was like, oh, my friend Pasquale and
Francois. And we
okay.
I'm like,
calm down, bro.
Settle down. His lies are just ridiculous.
Get the fuck out of here.
So finally, they have the infamous press conference, which nobody knew about. This petite blonde woman steps out in front of the news, and the news that was already obsessed with Laci Peterson's case goes off the charts. And that's when Laci's family immediately, like Sharon's like, what did you do to her? What did you do to my daughter? Because they had no idea of his infidelity and all of that coming out. Then it just turns into like the biggest circus. Of course, like they the months that follow, everybody's like following Scott, tracking his thing. He's on like every single tabloid, every single newspaper. Nancy Grace literally like devotes her life.
It's like
it's like an
oh yeah,
obsession.
it's Christmas for her.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, I mean, it's Christmas for everybody, but for Nancy Grace, this is like Christmas, her birthday. This is what she plays for.
Now, Scott actually does try to contact Amber a few more times after that, like trying to get her to meet.
Nah, I'm good.
Keep that in your head.
Nope.
Because in April of 2003, people find the body of Connor washed ashore at the Berkeley Marina. Day later, they find the torso of Laci Peterson. It's missing the head, arms, and legs.
Which, again, what are the chances? Because I did watch the beginning of this documentary series.
It is 90 miles away from their home.
And they make some arguments as to how Scott could be innocent, or at the very least why he shouldn't have been convicted. But what are the chances? The place that you said you were is where she's found. What are the chances of that?
The place that nobody knew you were going to be.
Right. Like
nobody.
90 miles away, the place that you said as your alibi is where you were,
right,
is where they find her body.
Weird.
What are the fucking chances?
Right.
Who is setting you up?
Right.
Like, why?
So right after that, they go to pick up Scott, who's now in like San Diego and has the most unfortunate blonde hair job.
Oh, the hair.
Dude.
Do you remember the goatee?
Yes. The goatee.
The fucking orange. Like, I was like, did you just like
sun in?
Jerk off with sun in? Yeah.
For why? Again, like for what? Like, were you trying? Who are you trying to create a new identity? Like, what's happening right now?
And again, his excuse was like he wanted to avoid the media or being like recognized on the street, which is certainly acceptable. But he also, in his car, was $15,000 worth of cash, camping equipment, Viagra,
What you always need for camping.
Knives, rope, and a printed out map quest with directions to Amber Fry's workplace.
He was just
and it should also be stated that San Diego is quite close to Mexico as well. Also, by the way,
100%.
Yeah,
real close.
You're not making a run for it.
You're literally miles away from Tijuana.
Yeah.
You could if you wanted to.
Yeah. So they pick him up, they arrest him. Judge, like, I mean, the trial's just a fucking shit show, and honestly, you can go on and on and on about how, like, I mean, the trial was a shit show on both sides. I mean, that fucking juror with the red hair coming in, she was a fucking
worst
mess. She was a mess. And again, here's the thing. I am somebody that will bend over backwards. It is very difficult for me to say, like, beyond a reasonable doubt, yes, this happened. Like, I am the one to give everyone the benefit of the doubt 100% of the time. And you should take a trial where someone's life is on the line with the utmost seriousness. When you're talking a death penalty case, you absolutely need to treat it with that kind of respect. And this turned into a fucking nightmare.
Yes, and it was clear to me, you know, from the things that I've watched, that everyone did go in already with their minds made up.
Yeah.
Specifically, that one juror, she should have been pulled immediately.
She should have been pulled.
Because she was outspoken to the media, being like, he's going to burn in hell. Fuck this guy. Like, from the start.
Called him an asshole, and like, you can't do that.
He is an asshole. Absolutely. But your job as a member of the jury is to be impartial. You cannot, if you're gonna be that biased, fucking keep your fucking mouth shut.
Exactly.
Like, you can't go out and like act like that. So I'm with you on that. I think, and this is where shit gets messy. And it's the same kind of thing with like Casey Anthony or any of that stuff. It's like, this stuff gets messy whenever the media pays this much attention.
Right. That case, nothing makes me want to fucking burn something down faster than the fact that Casey Anthony got off.
Oh, I know, because you're talking about, if you want to deep dive cases, you can deep dive, because I have the claims that the Innocent documentary made and how they were easily refuted, very easily, with looking into them the briefest amount. They're all bullshit, and some are outright lies, which is crazy. And that's the media. You have to put that aside and know that what we're getting has agenda put on it.
Absolutely.
So do your own research. But it's the same with Casey Anthony, as with Scott Peterson. It's all a mountain of circumstantial evidence. The only physical evidence in the trial there are 2 hairs of Laci's inside a pair of pliers that was inside the boat.
Wow.
Of Scott's. Laci had never seen this boat or been near
Supposedly,
that boat.
never
So I
been
mean,
near
I
it,
know
right.
I shed like a motherfucker. So like any room that I'm in is gonna have hair in it.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
for a boat that you've never been
Correct.
to or seen, your hair should be
what's
there.
the explanation for
Yeah.
that? Yeah, but I mean,
But that's
to
it.
your credit, or to your point, rather, to your point, when we're talking about Casey Anthony, that is what saved her life. Is that the prosecution decided to go for the death penalty,
Right.
And those jurors those jurors did take someone's life seriously.
Yeah.
And all they had was circumstantial evidence, albeit just like this case.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Incredibly damning circumstantial evidence,
Right.
where it's just like, at some point you pile enough shit on top and you're like, this cannot be a coincidence. It's impossible. Like, the likelihood, what we need to get like a statistician in here to tell me, like, what is the likelihood that
all of these things can
happen
I'm
and
sorry,
this person could
Occam's
be
razor is a thing for a reason.
innocent?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just, I just, so many things would have had to go just the right way for Scott Peterson to be innocent.
Yeah,
Like,
he was freaking out because his son was about to be born. He met this chick that he kind of liked, but really it was just like not wanting to get divorced, and thinking that on Christmas Eve things will be quiet enough that he can quietly get away with something.
But that's so
and
weird,
move on
because
with his
Christmas
life.
is when your family is supposed to be together. That's when I would be the most suspicious if I couldn't find my sister.
course.
Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, you were supposed to come over for Christmas
there'd
dinner.
be the least amount of people out on the lake fucking boating when you're disposing of a body.
That's true. I mean,
with concrete anchors that you made in a bucket in your fucking warehouse.
And I think that's
the warehouse that you had to go clean.
One of the things that I think is the most telling here, if we're going to talk about circumstantial evidence, is like the type of personality that Scott Peterson had to be, because we already talked about like what kind of person do appearances mean so much about that they will get married, get their wife pregnant, have this entire lifestyle that you don't want. It's the same kind of person who wouldn't be able to handle the shame of getting a divorce.
Oh, yeah. But they would revel in the fact that they were a widower.
In the attention of being a widower. God, because it's like
classic
any
narcissism.
normal person who is like him just wouldn't have gotten married in the first place if they wanted to have that kind of life. But also any normal person would have just gotten a divorce.
Absolutely.
Like, but it's so telling about like the way his brain works that he would rather have all of these traditional values that make no fucking sense.
Well, going through that documentary, they do make a shit ton of claims that like, A, you're not able to dispose of a body in that kind of boat. That is a lie. They're like their big bombshell at the end. They're like this mail carrier supposedly that like no one's heard of and no one got to hear his side of the story. Actually, in the trial transcripts, he testified in front of the jury. He did. I mean, the media may not have put him out in the thing, but he had a long. He testified in front of the jury. They freaking heard his story.
Can I also speak to that? You couldn't dispose of a body in that type of boat.
Give me a break.
I have been on many a boat in my life. I've been in a kayak. I've been in a canoe. I've been in a rowboat. I've been in a fisherman's boat. I've been on a cruise ship.
Been on a yacht.
Can tell you, if I wanted to dispose of a body in a canoe, I could.
Yeah.
I would figure it out.
Oh, yeah,
It's not impossible.
No, you do it over the front or the back. You don't try to...
Yeah, you can tie them on. Look, I have been the dead weight in the back of the canoe while the person in the front has steered me fully. So I'm saying...
It can be done.
It can be
and
done.
by the way, not a canoe.
Yeah, and this wasn't, and we're not even talking about a canoe. That's such a weird fucking argument.
Yeah. People that
Jesus.
say
I'm sorry,
that
this boat's specifically built to not be able to dump a body from.
I'm sorry, it's one body per boat only.
There are people that think that a satanic cult has been kidnapping pregnant women all over California, and that they use as proof that like baby Connor's body wasn't as badly decomposed, that he was actually birthed, and then like people knew that Scott had been fishing, so then they dumped the bodies there to frame him.
I fucking hate people.
This whole thing.
People.
And I was like, listen, okay, I feel the same way about this as I do for people that believe that Sandy Hook was a false flag or that the earth is flat. It's like, listen, we're all entitled to our opinions until you spout that fucking shit where people with real families have real emotions about this stuff. And you want to talk about this crazy bullshit with no evidence to back it up to hurt people whose daughter and grandson washed up on a marina. Like, go fuck yourself with that.
In pieces.
Honestly.
On Christmas. Like, it's just the worst thing that could ever fucking happen to you. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So I encourage you, like, listen, I watched that Laci Peterson thing. I took it all in. I went and I looked for the truth before, like, I get it. I personally believe that without physical evidence tying someone to a crime, you shouldn't make it a death penalty case. That is my own personal belief. Just look into it with a grain of salt before you're like posting stuff like, oh, like this guy's like this satanic cult did it, or you're posting all these crazy conspiracy things. Like, somebody's fucking daughter died, and just have some respect. But yeah, basically I wanted to do that one because it came back up again, that and I think it's because his appeal is coming out, and people wanted to like have the media and the public talking about it and maybe like drum up some support.
And we're in a lot of like murderina groups.
Yeah.
Which is like my favorite murder subgroups.
Right.
And I remember when that came out last year, there were people in those groups who were like, maybe Scott's innocent. And I agree with you completely. I don't think that as much as I think she's a piece of shit and I wouldn't cry a tear if she dies, I don't think that Casey Anthony's case should have been a death penalty case. I don't think that this should be a death penalty case. I think, let them rot in prison for the rest of their lives. But I do think they fucking did it.
I do.
And I think that
100%.
And there's enough circumstantial evidence to say that they fucking did it.
At like what point? And I didn't even give... I mean, I had pages and pages and pages, and I was like, I can't. This will be literally like 5 hours long.
Right.
At what point do you say enough's enough? Like, you can't convict on this one thing, but what about these 101 things that happened? You can't add all of this stuff up or explain. That's just not the way that normal life works. That is what it is. I do think he's where he belongs because he fucking murdered his wife and unborn son.
Yeah.
And would have raped and murdered Amber Fry for sure.
Oh yeah,
that's what he was intending to do.
100%
Oh yeah, he definitely would have done that. I mean that gave me chills. I'd never heard about that part. That
there was a made-for-TV movie about Amber Fry whenever I was in high school that I
was that the one with
did watch.
Dean Cain?
I think Dean Cain.
Oh, that's right.
I
watched that. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
shit, that's right. I remember that.
Dean Cain played Scott Peterson, which great casting.
He did. He
actually kind of perfect casting. Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, that is a heavy hitter. Yikes. I'm so glad you did it. I thought about doing it last year and I was just like, this is too much.
Yeah, it really is a lot. If you're interested in more, I mean, literally you can type in Scott Peterson into any search bar anywhere, and
you can just yell
find
out Scott Peterson outside,
and someone will come up
on
and
the street will engage in a conversation with you about that case.
Let me tell you a little bit about this case.
Exactly.
It is so bizarre how there are certain cases that make us as a country, and like Laci Peterson's case, for for the right reasons, for the wrong reasons, for whatever reasons, it gripped us as a nation,
right?
And I don't see how any person can look at the evidence and not think like he did it.
Yeah.
Like he
clearly did
so many things. It's just not possible for that many things to be a coincidence.
Yeah,
it's just
like
not possible.
All these people, here's the biggest claim that they make is all the people that saw Laci walking the dog after Scott had left, because Scott's timeline's solid. He is like receipts and shit like that showing he was where he was when he said he was. And the fact of the matter is they saw like a woman in black pants and a white shirt. Laci was found in tan pants, the pants that she was wearing when she saw her sister last the night before. I really do think that he murdered her that night, wrapped her in the tarp, loaded umbrellas on top of her in the trunk, and took her to the marina the next day. Because listen,
because
like
here's the other thing: when you go
comes to you a couple days from now and say, "Hey, one of your neighbors down the street is missing. Have you seen her recently?" Would you remember the date and time that one of your neighbors that you don't know walked your dog?
100% no. I mean, unless they were yelling, "Fuck you, I don't care if you fucking die" outside my window.
Exactly.
In which case, I'll be like, yes, I know what that bitch was wearing, and I know exactly what time I saw her. Other than that, no, I'm not going to remember.
Testimony is not reliable.
No.
It's not reliable, and that's why it didn't come out in trial, is because the more you dug into it, both sides, prosecution and defense, realized it was not reliable.
Look at this defense attorney and what defense. Look, I watched How to Get Away with Murder. I know. So defense attorneys, the most valuable thing you can do is try and bring forward another suspect.
Right.
Of course.
Where's the other suspect? Right. Who else would have killed her? Who else had any kind of motivation to kill her? Like, as far as I know, no one else was ever brought up.
Exactly.
And he had a pretty good defense team. If there was somebody, that defense team would have brought them up.
Absolutely.
And they never did. So I'm like, who the fuck else would have done it?
No, I think that's just about it. There was another claim that like Laci must have been alive that morning because someone logged into her computer. Like they had 4 computers. Someone logged into her computer. And this is like huge. Like people cite this all the time, that went to a Gap website. They went to like a Yahoo homepage and then a Gap website and looked at a scarf and looked at like a sunflower umbrella or whatever. But what
so Scott couldn't have been looking at that for Amber Fry?
What they fail to mention is that before that Yahoo homepage, someone signed into Scott's email account.
Yeah.
And then also did something from Scott's email.
I truly don't even know why that's worth bringing up, because you weigh that one piece of evidence, which, by the way, this computer is in a house that they share as a couple.
Right.
It's not impossible that he could log into it, you know?
Yeah.
So you bring in that one piece of evidence weighed against all this other circumstantial evidence against Scott. Why
that's
it's not even really worth
that she was
mentioning.
alive that morning. And I'm like, that's not.
He had another girlfriend he could have bought a scarf for. He could have bought a scarf for his mom.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, none of that's not damning evidence in the least bit.
Exactly.
Not in the least bit. Wow, God.
So yeah. Here we go, man.
That piece of shit. I fucking hate that man so much.
He's just got shark eyes. Every time I see him, he just really gives me the chills.
Well, because he's never shown, even if you didn't do it, how fucked up would you be? Like, your wife was found without her limbs or her head.
And your fucking baby. And you have no emotion?
Nothing. I've never seen him show any emotion for anything other than himself.
It reminds me of the thing about Pam. That guy was fucking and had all the evidence that he didn't do it.
Yeah.
He was losing his goddamn mind. He even knew his wife was going to die eventually because of her illness. Mm-hmm. But he was like, in this way, you could tell he wasn't expecting it. And none of that, like his reaction. And again, I know I hate being like, well, reactions, because I've definitely heard cases where, like, you know, reactions have gotten people led to the wrong way.
Does grief never hit you ever? Like, I could see your reaction being
no grief
being weird in the beginning, or like weird throughout, or like numb. Weird things happening throughout. But he had cameras in his face for so long, and I mean, and granted, I don't know everything about this case, but I've seen a lot of footage, and I've seen him get emotional. But I think the only time I ever saw him get emotional when it was something to do with himself. Like, I don't think I ever saw him grieve the loss of your wife and your child.
This is why I think he's a narcissist. I think that's exactly what he is. I think that he only thinks about himself, how he looks, what his persona is, what the
perception.
Thank you. Perception is of him. He's classic narcissistic tendencies, and with a psychopathic chaser. Like, honestly,
yeah, for sure. So craziest in love, and what makes this chilling to end and wrap it up and move on to happier pastures for Christmas. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Guys.
Comes out on
the
Christmas.
worst case of all time.
But
happy Hanukkah
is the fact that literally her family, and even I'm going to assume that Laci really had no idea this was coming. I mean, this is a family that stuck by him right from the beginning. Was like, he treated her like a queen. He was constantly buying her flowers, and that wolf in sheep's clothing thing just really frightens me. And said, like, you never really know anyone.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of the point of a narcissist psychopath. Like someone posted to our Facebook page where I really didn't like the way that the title of this article was, because it was like, studies suggest that women are more attracted to psychopaths. I'm like, yeah, that's what psychopaths do. Yeah, everybody is more attracted to psychopaths. It's not a gendered situation. Yeah. It's like men are too, because that's what they're good at. Like, that's what they're good at. They're good at drawing you in and making them fall in love with you. Like, that's the point. So, like, that is the most scary thing about, like, you know, that's why we started doing Crazy in Loves, I think, is like, that's the most scary thing about dating is like, how do you know that you know who this person is?
Yeah.
Because that was I
makes me concerned about Dude Face, because I think we all like him, and I'm like, what if he is a sociopath?
I don't think so. I've seen him with the dog. Check how they are with animals.
Oh shit. Chuck loves him, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Chuck, don't be weird.
Yeah.
Don't make this weird. You're making this weird. But yeah, I mean, I think that's it. It's just like, you know, I don't mean to scare anybody, but I think everything I've seen, I watched the Dateline on Laci Peterson, and like, she loved him.
She did.
Like, she didn't know that anything was wrong. It's not like other cases where they were like, yeah, she really, really loved him, but XYZ was starting to go wrong in the beginning of their relationship.
Like no Susan one Powell, who's like making videos about like, hey,
something's really wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think she saw that coming at all, which is really, really, really scary and sad. Yeah.
Oh, it's so devastating, honestly. Oof.
Well, let's get out of this. Let's shovel
please.
out and end on a Christmas high. What are we watching? Oh,
let's not. We're not going to end on a Christmas high if we talk about what we're watching right now.
because I just saw the episode of Midwife that I think you've been waiting for me to hit.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes, it is. And as far as if it gives you any solace, as far as where I'm at, there are no more devastating losses through where I'm at in watching. But I knew you were
caught up to you.
I knew you were coming up on this one. And so when I got that text last night, I was like, yeah. To me, that is the most devastating loss of the show. For sure.
It's the worst.
Is
Yeah, we don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't gotten there yet, but just know if what season is that? Season 7
is
Season 7's a
ball buster, dude.
Yeah, it's going to hurt you.
A ball buster.
It's coming out for your feels.
Yeah.
For sure.
Jeez.
So
Cheese and race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we? Okay, 2 things. One, first, can we start calling dude face by his real name now, since you guys are technically boyfriend and girlfriend? I mean, we talk about Chris, we talk about Anthony. Can we talk about
Eric?
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. All right.
Yes. I mean,
yes.
It's a Festivus miracle.
There we go. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy
There's
holidays.
your gift.
And the other thing I want to talk about is not fun and festive. Oh, we talked about cats earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about don't fuck with cats?
Yes. All right. So
yes,
I think Christina and we feel similarly. I have been very tempted to watch this. I watched I think CBC, the Canadian broadcast company. I think that they had
the same thing.
I think they had a thing.
I made a vow to never watch anything about this dude ever again.
And True Crime Garage also had like a 5-part or 4-part like episode. And I will be the first to say, the Luca Magnotta case is fascinating for people who are interested in true crime.
It really is
such a mind fuck. It is so fucking weird. Like this case is so strange.
His fucking face, the international element of it,
wild.
All of it,
internet
is so fucking weird that I understand its appeal because I get wanting to know because it's so fucking weird.
What appealed to me initially, just watching that first initial trailer, was, hey, when I first saw the trailer, I thought they were fucking with this. I thought it was going to be a joke. And then I was like, oh, no, they're talking about a real case. And I didn't know anything about like what was going on. The appeal for me was that these people were like so upset
that they decided
that
to
they
do something.
Decided to act as humans, as humanitarian people who were like, I cannot allow this to happen.
I will say
this person needs
that
to be
is
taken
that
down.
is cool.
It is the most apt title because the internet loves few things more than cats. The internet fucking loves cats. Cats made the internet. Okay, like cat videos like made the internet. People started to discover how fucking wonderful. I have cheeseburger. Started discovering how wonderful cats are. So when this motherfucker came out in the midst of cats mania on the internet and decided to fuck with cats.
Okay.
Trigger warning to all this. I know we were going to end on a happier note, but
we will. We promise. We'll come back around.
In the beginning of the internet, I remember. Do you guys remember MySpace?
Of course.
And MySpace had basically like rotating. You could write articles, and then they would like pop up on your like homepage. Right. People would write articles and would pop up like chronologically. And so I would go through and I would open those, but those could easily be spammed with like viruses. So I opened one once, and this will never leave me. Like, as somebody, I'm about to cry. As somebody who, I love my cats. I love animals. I opened this, and it was some fetish video of a woman wearing stiletto heels, stepping on kittens. And it will never leave me. It lives in my memory to this day. I know what she looks like.
Sorry.
It was
so sorry.
Horrifying to me. And so like as fascinating as I think that this story is in Don't Fuck with Cats, and if you watch it, like report back and like let us know. But I don't think I can watch it. Yeah. I just don't think I can get past it.
That's terrible.
And then so there's that stuff also compounded, which I know, which is the biggest
with people?
Issue for you and I, Christina, which is that Luca Magnotta, the reason why he did all of that isn't, I think, necessarily because he hates cats or he hates people.
No,
it's because he wants fame and he wants attention so desperately. When they caught Luca Magnotta, spoiler alert, he was Googling himself. That's what they caught him doing. They caught him in an internet cafe Googling himself because he is so focused on attention that as much as I want to praise these like internet sleuths who went after him for fucking with cats,
and absolutely their story should be told,
and their story should be told
for their staff.
They should be applauded. And I'm like, anybody who wants to watch it, go have at it and like let us know what you think about it. There's a thread about it already on our Facebook page, so I'm totally fine with it. But I myself, I just don't think I can do it. I just don't think I can do it. Whew. Anyway,
this definitely seems like an appropriate Christmas episode for us.
Well, okay. I'll wrap it up with this.
Okay.
I am, and I've been texting you guys because season 3 of Outlander is now on Facebook. Or Facebook is now on Netflix.
Oh man!
Wow!
It is so bad.
Was it as rapey as season 1?
It is.
Dude, season 2 wasn't even really that good. And then I was like,
watching it.
This couple is, I feel like a lot of people are holding them up as like goals. And I'm thinking it's because like the sex is really hot, but they are so codependent and like gross.
Really gross.
Codependent.
That like I'm trying to get through it. Like in my
come
brain,
at you, girl.
I know. Look, I know people are devoted, but I think people are devoted because of the sex. And let me tell you about season 3. The sex isn't even that good. Because
that's what you watch the show for. Come on.
So okay, spoilers. So fast forward if you don't want to know. They get separated, right? And then
because she goes back
to modern day, and then they get reunited.
Yeah.
In season 3. When they are reunited, which takes fucking forever. It's like 7 episodes before they're finally reunited.
Jesus.
When they are reunited, the scene where they have sex is like, it takes them like 10 minutes to undress, and it's 10 minutes.
You love that, Cassie.
It's
They're
10
like
minutes of silence
undoing
too.
Corsets and
Yes.
shit. Yes.
They're like quiet because it's awkward, right? Because they haven't seen each other for a long time. So it's like,
and they're like
10
old
minutes.
now, right?
Yes, but they look the same.
Yeah.
They're old, but it's like they're the same.
20 years
but
have passed.
A streak of gray hair. So you're like, okay.
Okay.
And-
so your arthritis is bad is what you're trying to tell me.
And he sometimes wears, they establish that like he's old, so he wears glasses now, except for he wears them in that episode where they reunite and never again. Ever again. And so even Anthony, I was watching it because I'm like, in my brain, I'm kind of like determined to finish this season.
It's like reading a bad book. Where you're
I'm
just
like, I just have to complete this.
You know what? I actually want to read the books. I bet the books are dope.
I bet you
said the books were
are
great.
better because
I bet they're so
I think
much better.
they're taking large passages from the book and trying to make you believe it in life. And I'm like, I think that I would believe this more written down in a novel where I could imagine my own shit.
Yeah.
So even Anthony, where like we were sitting down and I was like, look, I got like 5 minutes of this episode left. So can we just get through this? So he sat down and it was a scene where it's like foreplay before they're about to fuck. And even Anthony was like, can they fuck already? I was just like, I know. So the other day I was getting ready to watch another episode. I was talking myself up. I'm like, Keegan, just sit down. You're going to just finish this.
For that.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to be good to me.
Yeah.
And watch
Self-care.
Killing Eve instead.
Yeah, there you go.
Because the second season of Killing Eve is on Hulu now. So I was like, I'm going to put that on instead. And started watching the second season of Killing Eve, which is amazing.
Is it?
Highly.
Okay.
I'm only
show.
2 episodes in, but the
I
show's...
fucking have
Mwah.
such a crush on Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Oh yeah, she wrote Killing Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love her.
and
Love her.
Sandra
Love her.
Oh,
Love her.
fucking amazing.
Love her.
The woman who plays the lead, Sandra Oh plays Eve, but there's like another woman who is phenomenal. The acting in that show is great. So listen, if you're thinking Outlander or Killing Eve, Killing Eve.
Yeah. If you're thinking Outlander, call the midwife.
Call the midwife.
Yeah. Thinking Outlander and pretty much almost any other show.
Unless you just want really hot. The first season of
No.
sex scenes are great.
A little,
But it's so fucking rapey.
Oh well, yeah.
Dude,
But the consensual sex scenes are great.
Yeah.
But there are, and that's,
It's
she travels back to the past in season 3 and is immediately almost raped again. And I'm like, why the fuck? You were in like 1970s Boston. Just stay there.
Yeah, no one's worth that. I'm sorry. Maybe I've never fallen like
no,
head over heels before.
I never. Clearly, I've never experienced love because I'm not going through
back to 1700s.
of this
Get the fuck out of
at
here.
all.
No,
I hate it.
It's terrible. Well, Merry Christmas.
Hopefully she brought some Advil from the past.
She brought penicillin with her into the past.
Well,
she did.
That's anyways.
Well, here we go.
If you've got stories for us, stuff you want us to watch, you need to go to our one-stop shop of a website. That's myworstdatepodcast.com. And we're going to be doing lots of stuff for the new year. So you really want to join up on our Patreon, join our secret Facebook group. We're going to be starting a Reddit. We're going to be doing YouTube stuff. We're going to have merch specials. We're going to be touring. We're going to be doing so much stuff in the new year. You really want to get in on the ground floor.
Bonus episodes
I know.
that we're really excited about.
So much stuff coming down the pike. Listen, here is the other thing. If you want to get us a Christmas gift.
Or Hanukkah.
Or whatever you're celebrating, tell a friend about a really funny podcast that you listen to. It would mean the world to have all of our friends and all of your friends and everybody telling friends that this is a really funny podcast, because one of the best things about this entire year and something that I'm grateful for this holiday season is all of the new friends that we've gotten to meet by doing this podcast and getting to speak with you.
Absolutely. And I just want to toss in here at the end, because when this episode comes out, you will have 1 week left of our merch sale. We have all of our sweaters, tanks, t-shirts, hoodies. All of those things are on sale through January 1st. So go check out our merch store. It's on our website. Yeah, that's it.
And thank you guys so much for listening. We love you.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.